Okay, I want to give you some information about triangles and angles that will help you on the test. One of the first pieces of information that you definitely need to remember is that a triangle has a total of 180 degrees. You'll have to know that, okay? So I can illustrate it pretty simply. If I drew a rectangle, if you remember, a rectangle means it has 4 right angles. Squares the same way, right? 4 right angles. Well, hopefully you remember, this is a very important piece of information. A right angle is 90 degrees. So I have 90, 90, 90, and 90. So a rectangle has 360 degrees. Well, here's the thing with a triangle. Oopsie. Look at that, it's half of a rectangle. So this piece would have 180 degrees, and this piece would have 180 degrees. Same thing. If I drew my rectangle really big like that, and standing on the side, these are all still 4 right angles. They have to be a rectangle. Well, I'm not drawing that great, but look at that. So it's still 180 degrees. Because if you did 360 divided by 2, you'd get 180. So remember that. A triangle has 180 degrees. Here's how that might show up on the test. They might give you a triangle like this. And I am not drawing this to scale, so don't hold me to this, please. But they might say this side, this angle is 110 degrees. This angle is 40 degrees. And they'll say, what is the measure? Let's say this is angle A. What is the measure of angle A? Okay, well, there's your sign for angle. By the way, it looks like an equal sign. I put the slash through it like that so you can tell I'm not doing an equal sign. I'm sorry, it looks like a less than sign. I put the slash through so you can tell. I drew it down here. So whenever you see that, I'm talking about an angle, okay? Because in case I don't draw it well, but you're gonna have, it's gonna literally look like an angle on the test or in your book. It may just be that, but you can tell that it's not the less than sign by the context of the question. So the measure of angle A, they're like, I don't know. Actually, you do. Because you know that the whole thing is 180 degrees. So let's look at this angle. Well, this one's 110, and this one's 40. So the measure of angle A is going to be 180 degrees minus these other 2 angles. 110 plus 40. Okay, so what I would honestly do on my calculator, well, let me solve it first for you. I'm going to tell you it's 30 degrees. What I would do if I were doing that is I would look at the other 2 pieces and I'd say, well, the other 2 are 110 and 40. So the other 2 are 150, right? Okay, what is 150 or 180 minus 150? And I get the 30, okay? So literally, it's the same thing, but this is the way it would write out. It's gonna be 180 degrees for the whole thing, minus the pieces I already have, minus the total of those pieces though. I have to add them together to get that piece, all right? Suppose I gave you a different triangle and I said, let's do it this way. It's not very straight, but we're going to play with it, right? 95 degree, that's too bad. We got to get a little better. Okay, that's a little closer maybe. Okay, let's say that's 95 degrees, and that's 65 degrees, and I say this is angle C. What's the measure of angle C? Okay, well, I'm going to take the 95 plus the 65. I got my calculator. So 95 plus 65 is 160. So I have 160 degrees. My whole thing is 180, right? So I need 180 degrees minus 160 degrees. You can use your calculator. It's 20. So angle C is 20 degrees because this plus this plus this will always equal 180. All right? Here's another way this may show up. I'll create some practice problems to put on D2L, but this is something else you need to be able to recognize. If they give you a triangle like this, and they said, what is the measure of angle B? Here's what they're expecting you to know. What is this here? That is a right angle, right? Whenever we have that box, remember, it means they're perpendicular. They meet at a right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees, okay? So you've got to know that, a right angle. So when I see this, they're not going to tell me 90 because they gave me the box. So they expect me to know that. So I've got to look at it and say, where's my calculator? I'm going to look and I'm going to go say, okay, well, let's see, 90 degrees plus 72 degrees. That's 162. Okay, and my whole thing is going to be 180. So what is 180 minus 162? It's 18. Because my whole thing is 180 degrees. So I'm going to do 180 degrees minus the 162 degrees. And what's going to be left is 18. So that's what that has to equal. All right, so they're expecting you to know that that little box means it's a right angle. Oh, sorry, I'm getting so much sun through right now. I know it's a glare for the moment, but that box lets you know it's a right angle, which means 90 degrees. All right, so let me write that down here even. A right angle equals 90 degrees. You'll have to know that for some of the questions on the test, all right? So this is the one other way that this could show up. Let's say, I'll go with the right angle again. It doesn't have to be, but I just want to make sure you see, as long as they draw that box, it doesn't matter where it is. That's what it means, okay? And let's suppose this one is 60 degrees. And this one, they label 3x, because you know how we love it when they throw numbers, letters in, right? Okay, we can do this though. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. And they say, solve for x or find the value of x. Okay, again, nothing changes. How much was this one? What's the value? 90 degrees, I heard you. Right. So between these two angles, I have 90 plus 60. Use your calculator, but that's 150 degrees. Okay. So how many degrees are in a triangle? Yes, 180. Exactly. A triangle has a total of 180 degrees. So I have 180 degrees minus my 150. Again, use your calculator. So my third remaining angle has to be 30 degrees. So this angle equals 30 degrees. We're guaranteed that. I know we're right. But they're telling me, don't say it is 30 degrees. It's 3x. So what does x equal? We know how to do this, right? We know this one. So 3x equals 30 degrees. You can probably look at that and eyeball it and figure it out. But you don't have to. We know our steps. Remember algebra? Solve both sides. Done. Isolate your variable. Get it by itself. Done. Undo, so do the opposite, which in this case is divide, because 3 times x, so divide. I would divide by 3. Anything you do to one side, you do the other. So x equals 10. I can be pretty sure that if this question showed up on the test, 30 would be one of the answer choices. But it is wrong. If they ask me for the value of x, I have to solve for x. Okay? Let me do one more like this. Suppose I have a triangle that's like this. And let's make this one 93 Again, I'm not drawing to scale. And let's make this one, let's say 47. And I call this one, I say that this one is x minus, let's say, what do I got? 40. Let's say this one is x minus 15. Okay? Let's think through what we know. And they say, what is the value of x? Well, let's look in this. This one is 93 degrees. This angle is 47 degrees. So I'm going to add them up. I'm going to use my calculator, but it's 140. Okay, so use your calculator and you'll get 140 degrees for this. How many degrees are in a triangle? 180. 180. So 180 degrees minus 140 degrees, no, that's the degree sign, I don't have to do that, is 40. Yay! So we know this corner, this angle here, I should say, this angle is 40 degrees. But they don't want to know what that angle is. What they want to know is the value of x. Well, thank heavens we know how to do this, right? We know that x minus 15 equals 40. Algebra, because it involves a variable, right? So, first step, solve both sides. Well, nothing I can do there. Second step, isolate my variable. I want to get it by itself. So what needs to move for my x to be by itself? The 15. So remember, I always do the opposite to get it to move. And anything you do to one side, you do the other. So negative 15 plus 15. So I end up with x equals, what is 40 plus 15? You'll have your calculator, but it's 55. So the answer to the value of x is 55 degrees. Is that the value of that angle? No, it's not the value of that angle. In fact, it'd be too much, right? But it is the value for x in this. So keep straight the pieces you know, because I can tell you on this one too, 40 will be one of the choices. It will be wrong though if they've asked me for x. If they ask me just the value of that angle, then that's it. But if they throw in an x there, they're wanting me to solve for it. So use your two pieces that you know, all right? We know the triangle is 180 degrees, so we know how to solve that. We know how to figure out how many degrees this angle is. Then I just need to do the little algebra equation that's going to come up where whatever they told me, if they told me that, 4x equals this, if they told me that x plus 10 equals this, whatever they've told me here, it's going to equal the degrees, which is 40. And then I solve down through it. Okay, so I'm going to do one last one like that. And then I'll give you practice problems to work on this on your own. And let's say this is 2x minus 4. Let's just go with that. All right, and they say solve for x. Okay, one more piece of information they want us to remember, and that's that little box means 90 degrees. So you can just write that in. You can take a quick minute and sketch it out. It'll just take a few seconds to draw it. So I have 90 and 44. So my two angles equal 90 plus 44. Use your calculator, okay? Use your calculator. 90 plus 44 is 134 degrees. All right. Next piece of information we got to remember. My whole thing, my whole triangle is 180 degrees. So 180 minus 134, use your calculator, 180 minus 134 46. Okay, so this angle here is 46 degrees. But they didn't ask me what's the angle. They asked me to solve for x. So 2x minus 4 equals 46. Because they said that this value is 2x minus 4, and I know it's 46 because of all the other things I know. So 2x minus 4 is 46 degrees. 3 steps of algebra. First one, solve both sides. No like terms, nothing I can do, right? Second one, isolate my variable term. So I need to move this 4. So I do the opposite. So I'm going to add 4. If I do it to one side, I must do it to the other. So I have 2x equals 46 plus 4, which is 50, right? And then the third step is always to do the opposite. Well, this is 2 times x, so the opposites divide. So divide by 2. I'm always going to divide by whatever this coefficient is, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? So I didn't quite give myself room here. I'm going to scrunch it in. X equals what is 50 divided by 2? Use your calculator. It is 25. You see that there? So the answer to that question is 25. Let me tell you again. I'll bet 46 would be an answer. I'll bet 50 would be an answer. They're both wrong. Don't stop one step short, okay? Do all the pieces. They said solve for x. The value of x is 25. I will put some practice problems up on D2L for you to work through and solve on these. Key fact, triangle is 180 degrees. A right angle is 90 degrees. And from there on, we know how to solve these.